Hi, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I come to you live every Wednesday night with a free class. Last week was a little weird, I'll admit. Lost internet 2 different times, and I don't think anybody ever got to see the whole video because the whole video didn't record. So I'm kind of going to back up a little bit. I'll show you the 2 cards that I made last week. I won't re-demonstrate those cards. I've already posted pictures of them so you can see them there. And then I'll make a couple of other cards using 2 of the same sets and possibly a 3rd that I used the last time. So I'm checking to see if I'm here today, and yay, I am. Okay, so that's good news. I switched my internet to, I'm with Time Spectrum, and they offer, Spectrum and Time Warner, they're kind of combined. And they offer a choice between, or they used to have 2G, and then they went to 5G. And when I bring up internet on my phone or on my computer, I have a choice of either one. And it seems like, why would I want the 2G? It's slower, I want the 5G. But what I keep noticing is that every once in a while when I take a look, it's on the 2G, so somehow it reverts itself back to that. So before starting out tonight, I set it on the 2G, the 5G rather, on purpose, hoping that it stays there, thinking that maybe that was the problem last week, but honestly, I don't have a clue what the problem was. I really don't. I just hope that it doesn't happen again anytime soon. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down so we can get started. I don't know why I press that button every time and it makes you see that ugly spot in the ceiling. Someday I may get that painted again. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't look up at the ceiling that often. The roof is fixed, so that's the main thing. And it just is not a priority right now. So I explained a couple of weeks ago, I've started putting a date in here. I'm just using this cute little calendar that sat on my desk as a teacher for many, many years. And I've started doing that because as I transfer my videos onto YouTube, the date that appears is the date that I transferred them, not the date that they were actually recorded. So for some, that might be confusing if they're looking for something with a certain stamp set. I try to use the hashtags, and those seem to work. I don't know how that works on YouTube, though. So anyway, this is the 11 Lakes Stamper group, and I'm also on YouTube by the same name, 11 Lakes Stamper, and my email is 11lakestamper@gmail.com. Now, the website that I have is through Stampin' Up, so that one is www.rcolasino.stampinup.net. Earlier today when I tried that, it wasn't working, so I used an alternative, and that one worked and then stopped working, so they might have been doing some upgrading. Let me know if you try to use one of those links and they're not working, because then I'll contact Stampin' Up and find out what's going on. Okay, just going to adjust this again. It's tipping a little bit. And I'm going to turn on one more light because it's 7 o'clock these days. It's not light out anymore, is it? No, it's not. Okay, so the problem with the ring light and the glass mat is that the ring light kind of shows on it, but it's only one little corner, so I'm not going to worry about it. It does lighten things up a little bit. Okay. So, last week, we used the Forever Plaid embossing folder, and last week I think I could not remember the name of it for my life. So what I try to do when I first buy a new embossing folder is to put the name up on the top. So I've done that now so that I won't be able to forget. We used the Sweet Jar bundle, which comes with this stamp set, and included in the bundle price is the jar punch. All right, we also used the Not 29 Anymore kind of fun stamp set, not for someone who doesn't have a sense of humor though. And I thought tonight I'd bring in the Simply Said stamp set, which carried over into the new catalog. And the other thing I probably should have mentioned right off the bat is that the new catalog went live today. The new September to December 2025 mini catalog, which we used to call the holiday catalog, but now we don't. That went live today. So that's really good news. I do not actually have a copy of it yet. It's supposedly on its way, but I don't have one yet. That's pretty unusual that happens, but they're doing things a little bit differently this year, so I did not get my catalog until I placed a second order, because when I placed my first order it was too soon to get the cat. I don't know. I have no idea. So I've just got some little things here that I've been playing with that I think you can see. All right. And because we're using photopolymer stamps, I have a foam mat here. Let me just real quick show you the cards from last week without spilling and making a mess of the cards from this week. Here we go. So this is one card that I made last week, and that's the one that I used the Forever Plaid embossing folder to emboss 4 different sheets of paper. And this is a sentiment from the Sweet Jar bundle, sending a little love. And the way this works is that the word love is a separate stamp. So you stamp this and it leaves a space in between, and you have a couple of different choices that you can fill in. And then I also, I think it must have been off camera, added these gems that are so pretty. These were an online exclusive in 2024, and to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if they're still available or not, but they're called the Adhesive Backed Shiny Sequins, and they certainly did go along with these colors quite nicely. So I grabbed them and used them. And on the inside, just a little strip of paper and happy birthday also from that set. The second card that I made was more of a masculine card. I used basic gray for the card base, and I used the Not 29 Anymore stamp set. Did the colors a little bit, blue and yellow, so a little bit less girly, I guess. And then used the Happy Birthday also from the Not 29 Anymore, and just a little strip of paper. So this one is definitely a more simple, basic card. And this thing right here, this backing, I don't know what to call it, came from the Spotlight on Nature dies. And while the Spotlight on Nature stamp set, it's either totally gone now, or it might be in the last chance list, but we'll find out in a minute. But the dies carried over, and they are wonderful dies. Look how many you get. And some of them are really pretty. Some of them just have the little, whatever you want to call that, kind of reminds me of a paper plate. Okay, so I use that. Okay, so then after I got done with the live last week, I did a little playing around with the different stamps that come with the set. So there's this one here, which is absolutely supposed to be a 4-leaf clover. But I thought, you could certainly stamp it with flowers or stamp it with a floral color, and I don't think anybody would look at that and automatically see a 4-leaf clover if you colored it in such a way that it was supposed to be flowers. This one, I used the Stampin' Up markers to ink up the stamp. And so the other thing that I think I may have mentioned, but I need to let you know, is that Stampin' Up has made the decision to stop selling the red rubber stamps. They're having trouble getting the red rubber. They manufacture their own stamps, and so they're having a very hard time getting those. And as a result of that, they have just decided to stop making them. And so along with that, they are stopping production and putting the Stampin' Up markers on the last chance list. If you have any red rubber stamps in your collection, whether they belong to Stampin' Up or somebody else, these markers, are great for inking up. And so you can stamp with different colors in one stamp. So last week I tried this using the photopolymer stamps, using the stamps in this set. And I think this is why they're giving these up. It just didn't come out as well, and it was never intended for use with the photopolymer stamps. It was intended for use with the red rubber. It's not bad, but it's not great. And so they've just decided to stop making these Stampin' Up markers. But they're very good markers. They have a brush tip on one end and a bullet tip on the other. Some of the ones that I have, I've had for years, and they're still working just fine. So that would definitely be a good investment, and you can use them for writing as well. That's the whole point, not just for stamping, but for writing. All right, so then there's a jar that had hearts in it. All right, I know, is it Katy Perry who has a song called Jar of Hearts? Somebody does. Anyway, and then I did these, which I thought were jelly beans, to be honest. When I saw the stamp, I said, oh, look, jelly beans. I'm looking for the other. Yeah, so first I did this one, where I just made them all different colors. For a card that we're going to make tonight, we're going to be using all 3 of these, and the whole theme is just going to be red, red, red. Lots of red. Okay, and then I've got another one in here somewhere, at least I think I do, unless I lost it. So, like I said, yeah, here we go. I thought for sure that these were supposed to be jelly beans, or that stamp was supposed to be jelly beans. But then I saw what some other people did with it, and other people made them chocolate chip cookies, which also brought me to looking at the stamp set itself. And I had been wondering what these little dots were. Well, hello, the little dots, I think, anyway, are supposed to be chocolate chips. So you would first stamp this maybe in crumb cake, and then stamp that on top of it in maybe pecan pie or some similar color, so that they look like chocolate chips. But by the time I figured that's what those were supposed to be, I had already done these, so whatever. But it just shows you the versatility. So because I thought these were jelly beans, I made them jelly beans, and they look fine as jelly beans. But then I made them cookies, and they look fine as cookies too. And maybe they could be something else, who knows. So I like a set that's versatile and a set that you can do different things with. A jar full of cookies and jelly beans I think would be fun for any birthday card, but especially for a child's birthday card. I think it would be kind of a hoot, and they would probably enjoy that very much. So let's get going with just what we were going to do today. I'd like to talk to you about the new catalog, and I'd like to talk to you about the last chance list as well, but we can wait and do that until after we've done the cards. So, let's see, card number 1. So card number 1, this paper was on the last chance list, and I have a feeling it went away. I don't think it's there. I think it's sold out, so I apologize for using that, but this was the DSP that went with the set with the balloon dies, Bright and Beautiful 6x6 DSP, and it's really just, it's like a party in an envelope. So if it's still available, it would be on last chance, but I'm just not sure. So I just took a basic white card base, typical size, 5 1/4 by 4, and no, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and then the topper is 4 by 5 1/4, and then I've got this just because I wanted to break it up a little bit, and if I'm going to have jars on the front, I didn't want them to be like not on anything, you know what I mean? So I wanted them to look like they were sitting on something. So we're going to put these aside because I'm not going to use those tonight. And I think for this card, we're just going to do some jelly beans and some chocolate chip cookies, you know, kind of like sitting on a counter, waiting for some kid to scoop them up. All right, so we could either overlap them. I think either way, something's going to have to go a little bit under something, so they could be sitting on the counter like that. I think it's more interesting like this than it would be if you just line them up right next to each other. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Hello, Cheryl. How are you? I've been meaning to talk to you about hats. And anybody else who's listening who has friends or family members, or if you yourself knit or crochet, every year about this time I start asking people I know to knit or crochet some hats for children. So children's size hats, because my Kiwanis Club donates those to a migrant daycare center not too far from where I live in our county. And last year I knit 35 hats myself. And sometimes we have extras because we never know too far ahead of time how many boys there are versus how many girls and what the ages are. So sometimes people donate hats and they're too big or they're too small or they're too pink. You know what I'm saying? So we try to make sure that we have a good number of hats, even if it seems like we're collecting a lot, because every year we have some that we just can't use. And then we get lucky and the next year we can use them. So reach out to me if you think you would like to knit or crochet some hats. We like to do handmade. And the other thing I guess I should mention is we have a woman who every year gives us all of the mittens that she makes. So she's the only person who makes mittens for us. And I don't know how long she's going to want to do that. So if there's anybody who knows how to make mittens, that would be great. I would like to learn how, but I'm a little learning disabled when it comes to things like that. So I'm just not sure if I would be successful or not. Okay, so let's see. I've cut out lots of jar tops using some different things. So I cut out jar tops using a wood grain paper, because I have a couple of really pretty jars that have wooden tops, however you say it. So I did do some in the wood grain. I did do some in the silver foil. And then I just did some in the same... which gray was it? Some gray. Not basic gray. Smoky Slate, I think it was, in the same Smoky Slate ink that I did those. I kind of wanted to use the silver for the, no wait, did I? Which one did I want to use it for? Maybe I wanted to use the silver for this because the background was kind of busy and I thought it would stand out more. And then I think I was thinking maybe that I would use the wood for these. Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking, but I have to make sure I have 3. I won't have 3 silver left if I use them here. So it would have to be the gray or the wood for the next card. All right, we'll see how that works out. I suppose I could cut out another silver, but I stuck that silver paper somewhere and I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. All right, so last week when I made one of the cards, I did pop up the jar, and then it didn't look too odd to have the top right behind it, but this time I think I'll glue the tops on the jars, and that way I can just put the tops, I can, pop up the whole thing. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so I'm just going to put a thin bead of glue right up on the top. When you're working with the foil paper, you do want to be careful not to get glue on your fingers and glue on the foil paper because it just kind of makes a mess and it doesn't really come off very well with the eraser. I have tried using like a damp cloth after the fact to get it off, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So you don't want it to be smeared, with glue if you can help it. So just a little bead. Sometimes when you get to card making, by the time you're really into it and maybe into your 4th or 5th card, or depending on how many you're making, you find that your fingers are just full of glue. And I don't know why that's not avoidable, but it just honestly doesn't seem to be sometimes. Okay. So I hadn't even really, to be honest with you, had not even really thought out a sentiment for this card yet. I wanted to go with birthday or something different. Let's see what our choices are. So happy birthday or miss you bunches, a little treat for you, which would be nice if you were sending them something, and there's even sending a little something your way, although it doesn't have to be literally sending, it could just be sending in a card, I suppose. Sending a little sweetness your way in the form of a card. I think that would work. And you know what? Actually, you could put sending a little sweetness your way on the front, and then you could put happy birthday on the inside if it turns out that you're making it a birthday card. So in the meantime, you could just leave it sending a little sweetness your way. All right, I got my take your pick tool out so I could use it for this, because sometimes my fingers work to do this and sometimes they don't work. I've got fingernails, but sometimes that just doesn't seem to matter. Okay, so there we go. I don't know if I want to put them kind of cockeyed though, because I'm thinking you really wouldn't have your jars sitting on a shelf or sitting on a counter and have them being cockeyed. That would be a little weird. So if we're going to overlap, I just have to remember not to put a dimensional there, right there. So I'm going to hold that part, or just put my finger on that part to remind me. And then what we can do is just put a tiny bit of glue there. Again, I think that anybody would enjoy getting this card, but I certainly do think of children when I think of this card, just because I tend to think of children when I think of things that are really brightly colored, but maybe that's, kind of just the way I think. Although I don't know if kids would be impressed with a really dull looking card. Okay, so I'll just overlap that a little bit and sit this one down a little bit lower. All right, and then I will put this on the inside, just as a little decoration. It's not quite long enough. The paper was 6 by 6, and I've used a lot of it, so I was using kind of scraps that were left over. So if it's, oh shoot, well, I was thinking of doing the other side, but I guess I'm not now. What I do if I know it's not long enough is I just make sure that I leave an edge that's even and then a little edge on the bottom as well. And then it looks purposeful. Looks like we meant to do it. So I have one of these, but these are all pretty small for something that big. I feel like I had the same conversation last week, and I don't know why I know why I got that out. But let's see what I have here. I did a bunch of these today. A bunch. And we don't need anything too big, maybe. Oh, I didn't punch all the little thingamajiggers out of that one yet. Let's see. I'm thinking one of those two, probably. All right, so this is where the Take Your Pick tool comes in handy again. It's just to poke out all those little pieces. The other thing is that the Take Your Pick tool has an attachment that has where you put a brush into one of these spots and you brush over it and it gets them out really quickly. I didn't get it because I still have the old one, which works just fine, from back in the day when we had the Sizzix and we had a lot of Sizzix products. But this works. And when I go downstairs to do die cutting and I forget to bring this with me, I use a toothpick because I'm too lazy to go back upstairs and get it. So, you know, almost anything will work. All right, so there's that one. And I'll do this one too because it just has to be done. So there are a lot of cute things in the new catalog, and I always gravitate towards the fall things. And my problem is I like fall so much that it's pretty hard to make a fall stamp set and fall paper that I don't like. So this year they had 2 fall suites. And one of them is what some people call a mega suite, some people just call it a double suite, which means it comes with 2 bundles. So you're getting 2 stamp sets and either 2 punches or 2 sets of dies. So I got one of those, but I couldn't bring myself to get the other because it's pricey to get one of the big suites. And now I keep looking at the one that I didn't buy, and I want that one too. But I like the paper, so maybe I'll just get the paper and save myself some money. I'm always thinking of ways to save money, and I try to do that with my customers too, to let them find ways to save some money. All right, so if I want to use, let's see, sending a little sweetness your way. So I think I took every single stamp out of that set. So this is it. So, oh wait, no, is it? Sending, there you go. It works better if you turn it around so you can read it right side up. Okay, so sending a little sweetness your way. And I think we're going to want to put this on a smaller block than the one I have right now. Get the calendar out of the way. Okay. I'm in what used to be my son's bedroom. It is now my craft room, and you've probably heard me say this before too. When I started using this room as my craft room, I asked my kids, how did you stand your bedrooms? They're so darn hot. Their bedrooms get a southern exposure, and my son's room in particular has a roof. The roof to our enclosed porch is right outside his bedroom window. So, you know, it's a dark gray asphalt or whatever it is, shingles. So I think it must have just been terrible when they were kids. Their rooms must have been hot, but they never complained, never. And both of them would use their comforter all year round instead of ditching it in favor of a blanket in the nicer weather. So obviously I wasn't torturing them. It wasn't terrible for them, but I just didn't understand it because I've got 2 fans on in here now, and I'm just dying, and it's not even that hot out. Okay. So I'm going to use basic gray because that's kind of my favorite for stamping sentiments, but then I'm going to stamp the sweetness in something else. So let's see how this works. The only thing with 2-step stamping is it gives you more opportunity to mess up. All right, so, and what if sweetness doesn't fit on this one? Love would fit in there nicely, but sweetness might not fit. I mean, it'll fit in there, it might not fit lengthwise on the die cut. I always want to call them all labels. And the thing is, they're really not all labels. So we want a color that's in here. I think that's Berry Burst. That might be fun. Let's get that out. Berry Burst, yeah. Okay. now I've got to find the word sweetness. These are all on this these blocks, and they've been here since last week. Boy, I think it might just make it. All right. So let's take that off of there and put sweetness on and hope for the best. I'm going to put it down because this is a long, thin one, and those are the ones that can get kind of bendy if you're not paying attention. So I enjoyed the few cooler days that we had. I'm sure some of you did too, but I'm also missing pool weather. Okay. It just made it, and it's like a little bit on the cutout part, but I think that's fine. It's certainly readable. So if you didn't want to cut it that close, then I guess you would go with the slightly larger size. All right. Now I kind of wish I had something in a color to go behind that though. And I'm thinking maybe even some ribbon. I don't know what ribbon I have in any of these colors though. That's current anyway. Should have thought about that one ahead of time, huh? I could just do a circle. I don't have time to die cut because I don't have the machine here. Oh boy. All right. Maybe just a strip. And I know I saw something in here, one of my baskets that had something in that color, I think. Let's see what other colors. I've got a little pile of scraps right next to me here. Let's see. Oh, lemon lolly. Not exactly what I had in mind, but it is one of the colors in here. And I don't think I have any of the other colors. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Maybe fresh freesia? No, let's do lemon lolly. Because there's some yellow jelly beans in there, so that seems like that would make sense. So this is a scrap from using the birthday banner dies, but I think it will work just fine. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to use my little mini trimmer. Okay. Sometimes that's the part that I forget about, is when you put something light on a light background. It just kind of needs a little something. And something darker would be better, but the yellow still, it does the trick. So I'm just going to angle cut it a little bit and make it a tiny bit shorter. And then if I need to make it shorter again, I will. I think that's good. All right, so put some glue right down the middle there. Okay. And then of course you don't want to put glue where those little open spaces are, because the glue will seep right through, and that won't be good. Okay, so sending a little sweetness your way. And then we've got this inside, and because I don't know what I'm going to do with this, I'll leave it blank and I won't put happy birthday in there. Because it could even be just like a cheer you up kind of card as well, you know, or a hope you're feeling better kind of card. So I won't put happy birthday inside, but this does have a happy birthday card. All right, and this would be very appropriate too for Miss You Bunches, I think. So there you go. So that's card number 1 for tonight. And then card number 2. So I do this a lot, and I wanted to show you that I do this a couple of times in classes over the years. People have said, the paper that you gave me has like holes in it. Well, it does, you're right. So another basic white card base, and again, 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I wanted to put a layer of this, but I hate to waste it because you're only going to be seeing that much of it, right? So I decided to just cut this out. This is retired paper. It's the celebration paper with all the fruit on it, but the other side of it there's some really pretty designs. So again, I know it's retired, but it's just kind of cute, and I did use that label because I like that label a lot, but for this particular set it didn't work out very well because the stamps are kind of small, or the sentiments are kind of small. All right, so we'll put this on. This paper, if you still have it though, would make a great paper for a teacher card. Or an apple farmer, if you happen to know any apple farmers. I actually do know a couple of fruit farmers. But okay, I can see right away that there was a little too much space on the bottom. So that's what I do, this like wiggle jiggle thing. I kind of pull it or push it or both in the direction that I want it to go in. All right, we really don't have to worry too much about those little ends coming up because they're going to be covered up and nobody will know that that's under there. All right, so and when the card's going to go this way, don't forget that. And I think I'm not going to use that. Well, I could use it up the side, I guess. Yep, that would work. All right, so this card's going to go this way, and this is where we're going to be using these things. And we're going to be using another stamp and some more real red, which is the color there. So we're going to bring in the punch, and this still leaves me one extra punch to use, or one extra die cut, punch cut, whatever you want to call it, ready to go for another card. But with the punches, it is so easy. And if you're just a person who's not into having all the stuff, and you don't necessarily want to have the, oh, it jammed, and that happens once in a blue moon. And you know why it happened? Probably because I didn't move fast. Or yeah, because I didn't punch it out quickly. It works better if you punch quickly. All right, so it's not broken. It's just something that happens once in a while. And, well, I will tell you there is one way to fix it, but I don't like that way a lot. But even my upline, and when she was my demonstrator, had told me to do it this way, and that is to gently drop it on the floor. And I do mean gently, like not to slam it down on a hard floor or anything like that, but to gently. Now the other thing I'm wondering is if I move this, because sometimes if I put my hand where this lock is, I sometimes accidentally lock it when I'm punching. Okay, no, now it's locked, and now it's unlocked. Okay, so what's happening is that this part here, it's just caught and it's not opening. So hang on a second, I can always fussy cut it, but I have to get it out of here first before I can fussy cut anything. Let's just see. Nope, it didn't do the trick this time. Like I said, it usually does. All right, so I'm just going to see if I can get that out of here so I don't have to stamp it again. All right, and I'll have to play with that and see what happens. And just for the record, I haven't had this a long time. If it turns out that it's not working, and I don't think that's ever happened to me. I'm trying to remember. In all my years as a customer or a demonstrator, I've had to do that drop it on the floor thing once or twice, but I've never had a punch just stop working. So I'm very grateful for that. But Stampin' Up! Is very good about replacing things that don't work. And even sometimes when people say, oh, forget it, I've had the punch for 6 months, they're not going to do it, they will. I mean, I can't swear to it, I can't promise you, but they've replaced things for me, not punches, but other things. Every once in a while with a red rubber stamp, a stamp would get cut out incorrectly on the machine. And so as a result of being cut out incorrectly, it didn't stamp right. And sometimes I didn't discover that until I'd had the stamp a while. They always replaced it. And I do tell people, though, if you buy a stamp set, and maybe you're not going to use it right away. I mean, we all know some of us buy things and almost never use them. But check it out first. Open it up and make sure everything's okay. Okay, so now we're going to put this. I'm just trying to think if I want to glue this down yet or not, and I think I do not. So the idea here with this one is that I want to have all three of these going across, and again, we may have to overlap a little bit. Oh, and I have to stamp some flames on this too, I'm thinking. We need to stamp the flames. So yeah, we may have to overlap, or we might even have to, of course, see, then again, and this is my own thing, like right now, if I do that, it looks like they're floating. in space. And it's a card. You know what I'm saying? It's not a science project, it's a card. And I don't know if it matters or not, but it bugs me sometimes. That's all I can tell you, is that it bugs me. Now I suppose, but that's not long enough. I was going to say I could take this and put that there, but it's not really long enough, and they wouldn't all fit on there. So let me think about that. So let's see, do we like the wooden one or the gray one? I almost wish it was a slightly darker wood, but I do like the wood. And it's, you know, it's something different from what we used before, so I think I will use it. Okay, and I have to stamp the flames on that. I gotta find the little flamey thing. Here it is, okay. And I'm trying to remember if I used yellow last time or if I used kind of an orangey color or what I did. I could alternate a little bit as well. So I mentioned the last time that because these candles are so close together, the way you stamp them, I didn't necessarily put a flame on every single candle. In some cases it was kind of like two candles shared a flame, because it just wouldn't fit. See, now again, with the red rubber, and I'll actually give it a try just to see. With the red rubber stamp and the Stampin' Right markers, if I wanted to, I could then take an orangey Stampin' Right marker, and I don't even think I have an orangey one, so that's a problem anyway. I could take an orangey Stampin' Right marker and stamp just the tiny flame part in the center. But I could do the same thing with one of our blender pens. All right, so let's close that and I'll show you what I mean in case you haven't seen me do this before. So I'm going to open up the Timid Tiger just because it was here, and it is orangey. And I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to do a little cleansing on it just to make sure that there wasn't like dark blue on there before or something. And I stick the blender pen in the corner and just very lightly go over where that actual flame, the orange part, is. So it's like using a marker, but it's not. And you can use it with every single color you have. So it's like having 50 some odd colors, which is kind of cool. And I could even do a little bit of this, since there are some candles that didn't have their own flame. There we go. And then when you're done, you just go over it again until it comes clean. It might take a little while, and that's okay. Just don't do it too hard. You don't want to break the point. And eventually it will come completely clean. And that's the only way you clean it. That's just by doing that. All right, so there we go. So I think we'll do the same thing with this card that we did with the other one in terms of gluing the lids on. Although it might be kind of cute. This is where I have to get over like thinking, I don't think that things have to be perfect. It's not that. I'm not a perfectionist. If you've watched me enough, I think you know that. But I do sometimes feel like things have to look a certain way. Like I just have it in my head that things have to look a certain way. Not to be perfect, but just to be the way I think they need to be. I don't know. Kind of sounds like being a perfectionist, but not really, honestly. I was just thinking it might be kind of cute if one of them had the top kind of ajar. Or maybe we just shouldn't put a top on this one because, like we said last week, you really probably would not put a top on a jar full of candles. I'm not sure that you'd even have a jar full of candles, to tell you the truth. But if you did, I don't think you'd put a top on it. I don't know. We could do that. We could glue it just sort of like over here on the side, just because I like the idea of having all of the tops. And just have it be sort of sitting like that, half on and half off. Does that look weird? See, that looks weird too. I don't know. I just don't know. So, getting back to the hearts and stuff, so obviously this could be a Valentine's card, even though I'm very sure there's no Valentine's sentiment in there. And there's no Happy St. Patrick's Day either, but there is, the word luck is there. So it could be sending you a little luck. All right, and you would send the shamrocks or the four-leaf clovers. So that sort of makes sense. So I don't know why I decided to do these all in red, but I did. So, oh, and you know what I just realized? I should not have put the top on this one, because this was the one that I was going to show you the other stamp for. Okay, so you know that jar. All right, so if that's the case, I'm going to peel this one off gently, and I'm going to put that top on the whole way. And again, this is just me. This is how my brain works. You're probably saying, what is her issue? Just glue the thing together. So you do you. I always say that. You do what works for you. I'm going to get the heart stamp out, and I'm going to get the real red ink, which luckily is still right here, and that extra stamp. Or that extra cut, extra die cut, extra whatever you want to call it. I don't know why I always have such a hard time coming up with a label for it, a name for it. Oops, stuck my finger right in the red ink. Okay, when you're working with white cards, you really want to be careful about that. All right, and then we're going to stamp that. Okay, so you can see there, I forgot to use my pad. And as a result, there's a couple of little spots there where it didn't come out very well. And this is another example of when your blender pens come in handy. So I like to clean the photopolymer stamps right away because they do stain, and they're going to stain a little bit anyway, but when you use the reddish colors, if you clean it like almost immediately, it stains a little bit less. All right, I'll fussy cut this since the punch is not working right now. This is something that's certainly easy to fussy cut, which is nice. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to leave this one open, oh, that's not the hearts, it's the darn jelly beans, isn't it? Where's the hearts? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm telling you. Okay, well, we're gonna use this one, because I'm just not going to keep you here any longer, and we will make it work. I'm going to cut that off, and I think, well, now I have more red jelly beans. Oh my gosh, look at what I'm doing. Those are the jelly beans. This is the heart. The heart was the one I was supposed to peel the thing off of. Now I have 2 jelly beans. Okay, so now that's okay because this will work too. So we're going to cut that off of there. This is where I'm saying I'm not a perfectionist, because you can fix anything. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm trimming the white off of that, and I am now going to glue this top onto the jelly beans. Good grief. Alrighty, wow. Nothing like mixing up your hearts and your jelly beans, right? Okay, so now I'm thinking this can still work, even though the jar may look a little funky. This can still work. So the other stamps that we have are these 2 stamps, and the purpose of them is to make it look like the hearts are coming out of the jar. All right, so I think, I don't know, I thought at first I wanted to use them both at the same time and just have them coming out, and this will at least partially cover up the fact that part of the whatchamacallit is missing, part of the top of the jar. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, So I'm going to glue these two down on either side. And I'm not going to have them floating in the air. And again, you're going to probably already in your mind, you're thinking what you would have done if you were doing this that would not have been so messed up as what I'm doing. And then if you buy this set, you just do that. You just do what you said you were going to do. All right, so first I'm just going to put it down because I think what I'd like to do is just use this one first. And have it like that. Look how pretty that looks on the glass mat. Okay, have it like that. Then I'm going to put it down like this, but I'm going to want to pop it up at some point. And I feel like I want this one sort of like up a little bit higher. Okay. So now I'm going to come back over there and kind of stamp over that one. And that'll help me see where I want to be. And some of them, again, I forgot to put my thing down, my pad, so some of them aren't stamping perfectly, and that's perfectly okay, because I can fix that with the blender pen and then show you how that works too. So just kind of like that. And I don't even know if I need this other little stamp or not. Not really sure, because I'm running out of room on the top anyway. I could probably... see. Sometimes the things that you think are going to be so simple don't necessarily turn out that way, do they? Okay. Oh yeah, I kind of like that. Just extend it out a little bit more, and then over here it can even be going off the edge. There we go. I like that. Okay. Now I'm going to pop this up. When I've got the fans on in here, I like to make sure I keep these closed, not just for the usual reason that I don't want to stick my arm or something in it, but because the fans actually dry out the pads remarkably quickly. No, where's the take a picture? Here it is. Okay, so now I just have to see if I can line those two pieces up as best as I can so that that looks like all one thing. There we go. And then I could, if I wanted to, take one of these and have it off to the side now. And I actually like the fact that the top of the jar is not showing so much, so that there's an even, a nice flow, but for the hearts. That's what I'm trying to say, a nice flow. All right, so I'm going to take the blender pen again, and real quick I'm just going to touch up anything that didn't come out perfectly because I forgot to use the foam pad. So a couple of the hearts didn't come out too well, and I can fix them. And a couple of the jelly beans didn't come out so great, I can fix them. And a couple of the candles could use a little going over again. And that's all you have to do. The blender pens are great. I call them a fixer-upper, a mistake fixer. They're just a really good thing to have. There we go. Cleaned it off on the back of that. You're using it too, Cheryl? Is your punch working okay? It's very rare that that happens. Did anybody ever teach you the trick about dropping it on the floor? And like I said, I mean like in a carpeted room, you know, I don't mean on like tile floor or something like that. And I don't mean dropping it from 10 feet up. I've only had to do that maybe 3 or 4 times over all the years that I've been a demonstrator or a customer. And it does seem to work. But like I said, I will test it out because I was going to use it in class on Tuesday. So I'll test it out. And if it's not working, not that I'll have it by next Tuesday, but I can fussy cut them. I know a lot of the people in my class really don't care to fussy cut. There we go. So we've got that. And now that can go on here, but I haven't decided on a sentiment yet, so I need to stop and think. Do I just want to stamp a sentiment right on there? So I feel like this one would be pretty good for sending you a little sweetness too, but we've got the birthday candles in there, right? So it really should say happy birthday. Yeah. I'm looking for it in there, and it's not in there. Oh, I was also thinking maybe... No, that one's too big. Okay. I was going to use the one from the other set, but it really is too big. And this one is a little wiggly on purpose, not because I did it that way. Now, do I want to just keep on going and using red or not? Would I use red for this too, or is that like overkill? In which case I would just use gray or black. But I like the basic gray, so I'll use that. Just as soon as I find what I did with it. Here we go. Okay, oh, and let's get the pad under there since I kept forgetting it every other time. Okay, so we'll just put that there. Because I can't get my head over it, I can't really tell if it's straight or not. It tips up a little bit. When I was teaching, whenever I wrote on the blackboard or later on the whiteboard, I always slanted up. I don't know why, but always my handwriting went uphill. So I guess I'm just carrying on the tradition. Whoa! Okay, my lamp just like fell on me. And there's not a reason in the world why that would have suddenly done that. That's very strange. I have no idea. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to move the arms on it so it's more balanced. It's one of those lamps with the, the little arms. It was in my son's bedroom, I think, for a while, and then it was in my daughter's bedroom, and now it's here. And it's never done that before. That's very strange. Although I loaned it to somebody once, I don't remember why, and it came back a little wonky on the bottom, and I had to tighten it up, so maybe it's loosened up again. Okay, well, at least it didn't knock me out cold. That's good. Good grief. Nothing like a little excitement in the craft room. I do love that paper. It's so pretty, isn't it? It's kind of like a rose inside of something. It's just really, really pretty. Okay. Okay, I like it. I am liking it. I do like putting something on the inside just to pretty it up a little bit, especially when you're using white card base. There you go. All right, so there we have it. Cards 1 and 2 from tonight. And I've already done something with the other ones. Who knows where they got to? They're probably under a pile here somewhere. Well, you already saw those because I posted pictures of them and I showed them to you as well. So wherever they are, you got me. I don't know where they got to. All right, so there we have it. Those are the 2 cards for tonight. And if you care to stick around, I'm just going to show you some products on the last chance list that I have used recently. I double checked the last chance list today, so I know for a fact that those things are on the last chance list, but I don't know how long they will last on that list. So I just wanted to show them to you in case you had an interest in them, because some people commented on the cards that I made using some of these sets saying that they were really nice. So I thought they might like to have those items. All right, so we have, let's see, so the Stampin' Up markers, which I already mentioned. Oh, and here's the other two cards. So, really 4 very different cards out of one stamp set. And that's what I like. I like a stamp set that I can do lots of things with. So the Stampin' Up markers are going away because the red rubber stamps are going away. This one, which I think I used a lot this past winter when I was in Florida, the birthday celebration bundle, really, really nice bundle. And this is the one that has the great dies that do the numbers for you, so you could use the numbers for all kinds of things. But it was really great to do, like, happy 20th birthday, 50th birthday, whatever. It's just got some really nice features. It's got the little tassels and the little banners, and then this thing, which is kind of a banner, but also could be a pocket. And I'm trying to remember, I think it was not big enough to put a gift card in, which I found really annoying. I thought, if you're going to make something that could be a pocket, make it big enough so a gift card could fit in it, but they didn't. So I apologize for that. Not that it was my fault, but whatever. But on the whole, I just love the font on this. I like the slightly larger, more bold sentiments. So that is on the last chance list right now. So if you're interested, you want to get that soon. The Painted Stripes stamp set I used to make several cards with, and also used it for the the notes and totes thing. I used it to make a beach bag with. I stamped it in blue. So that's on the last chance list as well. This one, I'm so sad. It's one of my favorites. It's a standalone stamp set. It's $26. And it's the Elements of Text. And this is the one that has these wonderful text things on it that you know I love. I'm looking to see, because a card that I made just a couple of weeks ago, I think it's still right here. This one, I used this round stamp for the background there. And isn't that lovely? And it's just subtle. I think I did it in smoky slate, and I might have even stamped off once, so it was pretty subtle, and then stamped the flowers from Spotlight on Nature on top of it. It's just great for backgrounds. I love it, and that is on the last chance list now. I'm a little confused about this. Cheryl, if you're still here and you can help with the confusion, the Everyday Arches, something's going away and something's staying. It's like the Everyday Arches dies are staying, maybe? And because this was a bundle, so I think the stamp set is on last chance, but the dies are staying, and they may be staying as an online exclusive. I honestly don't know. I'm just not sure what the deal is there, but one of them is staying and one of them is going. So check out the last chance list so that you can find out for yourself what's going on there, because I'm honestly not 100% sure. Okay. The Bright Borders dies, or, well, stamp set and punch rather, sorry. That one came with, in a bundle, the point-to-point punch. There was another stamp set that also used these that already retired. It's long gone. But the punch is staying, so that's not going away at all. But this, the stamp set that goes with it, is on the last chance list. So if you like this punch, this is a nice duo to have. And then that adorable Storybook Garden patch, the Easter set. I used this quite a few times when I was in Florida at Easter time too. And I think those videos survived the purge, but I can't remember. So this was a suite, and it came with the dies, and this one is all about the garden. It's kind of Peter Rabbit-ish, although there's other things besides Peter Rabbit. And I remember as a child there was a book called Mr. Wiggly, and then there was somebody like Squirrel Nuttin' or Squirrel Nutter or something like that, and I don't know about children's stories with the other ones, but it was just really cute. And I loved these frames because you could use those for so many different things. So again, you could even use those for scrapbooking for the smaller pictures that you might have. So these are great, but they are on last chance, so get them while they're hot. They're great for children's cards and great for Oh, like making a holiday sampler or a sampler for a child's bedroom. They'd be great for that as well. And then this is the last one that I know of right now, Cake Celebrations, another birthday set that has the cake that sits on a platform, and it also has the little banner that you might stick in the cake, and it's got a cutout for a sentiment, and it's got the these, where are they? These funky little things here are like the what do you call it? What am I thinking of? These dies, the ice dripping down, the icing dripping down on the side of the cake. This is to make it a layer cake. This is some greenery and some flowers that you might put on the base sticking out of the card. And if you look through the catalog, you'll see all kinds of ideas for their use, because Stampin' Up! Always provides those in their catalogs. And if you go back in my videos, and if not in my videos, if the video's gone, the pictures remain. I'm very careful now not to attach any pictures to the actual videos so that they don't get taken down. So even if you can't see the video, you get to see the cards that I made with them. And that's the best that I can do, I'm afraid, since Stampin' Up! Decided to do this thing that I'm not so happy about. All right, so like I said, the new catalog is out, and it went live today, so it's shoppable today. And I just wanted to show you quickly. So right here, I've not logged on as a demonstrator, so I'm just on the regular site that you would use. And right on the front, it's showing you all kinds of things, like a touch of autumn on every page. It's showing you all of the featured products. And because, I'm trying to think, so that was the suite. This is the suite that I did buy, okay? And this one is called, what is it called? So this is not in the actual, okay, no, I think I lied. This is not the suite I bought. This is called We're Autumn or Gathering Together Suite, and it has lots of cool things. I don't know, I feel like whatever I ordered did come with acorns, though. See, now I don't even know what I ordered. How crazy is that? Another great tag punch is there. Lots of really beautiful paper. But I'm trying to think. So if you go over here where you see the lines, this is where you can see the different things, like what's new. Okay, so what's new, new arrivals, and it's going to show you a bunch of different things. So a lot of people tell me they have a hard time navigating the catalog, and I can see why. So we've got the Road to Christmas kit. So that has the red truck in it, like Trucking Along that we had 2 Christmases ago, I think, maybe. But this is a kit. It's totally different. So this is like you just put it together. Whether it's a stamping kit or a non-stamping kit, I don't know right now. But these are all kits. This is a paper pumpkin refill, which is great that they're doing that now, but you can only get the refills if you bought the original kit. You can't just order the refills. So this one is called Stay Warm, and it's all about Christmas sweaters and fun things like that. Snowflake Kisses dies are really kind of cool because there's a big full page die or full card front die. Love and Courage Clink stamp set is part of Stampin' Up's initiative. Let's see what they say about it. So part of the money from the set of this stamp set will go to breast cancer, to those affected by breast cancer. So this is what they do every year. They have a certain stamp that the purchase of it will go towards a charity. It's not the same charity every year. It's different things. Okay, so that's what the stamp set is this year. You can click on kits. I hope you can see that right there. And you can see the kits collection, and you can see the ones that are new. All right, well, the ones that are new, they say new. So this is the Road to Christmas that I was just talking about, and that's pretty cool. So that's that right there. And if this is part of the kit, it isn't something that you would have to punch out. This is a different kit. This is the Handmade Heartfelt kit. So it would come with those already punched out. You wouldn't have to punch it. You wouldn't have to do any of that stuff. Brighten Your Day kit. This one makes a harvest garland. So it's got everything you need. If you don't want to do the dies and the punches or anything, it's going to come to you in a kit to make your own garland. So there's so many different things in these kits that they offer. And then there are going to be some scrapbooking kits as well. Make a memory scrapbooking kit. Pop-up pals. This is a great one to do with kids or grandkids. Sweet and spooky kit. This looks like it's going to be a treat kit, not a card kit. So this would be great to do with your children or your grandchildren to send into school for their friends or teachers, however you care to do that. The paper bouquet, I have seen that in person. It's actually very pretty. Very pretty. Share a smile, beautiful blues. Everybody knows I love the blues. Essential occasions kits. So some of these kits have been around for a long time. Some of them not so long. They do go away after a while. This rainbow celebration kit is now on last chance. I was going to say that's been around quite a while. The layered landscape kits literally comes with the frames, and these are just really cute things that you can hang on a wall. And this is a calendar kit as well, and that's on last chance. I forgot to include the kits because I don't have all of those. The Christmas ornament kit is not on last chance, but we had something similar last year. But it wasn't an ornament, it was a Christmas countdown thing. All right, so we have lots of kits. This one, the Haunted Home Kit, very fun to put together and just a really neat decoration for your house. So we've got all of those. So you've got to look up kits. And then Paper Pumpkin is now in the catalog. Okay, so Paper Pumpkin is no longer its own thing. You can shop by products. You can shop by specials. If you click on specials, that's where you get the last chance products. That's where that list is. And that's also where you can see bundled savings. So anything that comes in a bundle, you'll see under specials. And anything that you buy as a bundle, well, I clicked on the other one first. Anything that you buy as a bundle, you automatically save 10% on. So that's a really good deal. Okay, and let's see, you can shop by category. And here you can do the Paper Pumpkin Kit, which you know, at one time you couldn't do that there. All right, under Gathering, I wonder if that's going to have, so the first Saturday in October every year, nope, that's something different. This year is going to be October 4th, is World Card Making Day. And if you register with Stampin' Up! To be in World Card Making Day, you get to be a part of the online thing. There are bundles or stamp sets that you can order ahead of time and make the same cards that they're making. Or if you're kind of clever and you have a lot of stuff at home, you can actually make a similar card to what they're making using what you have. I'm just wondering, because when I first opened this earlier, that popped up right away. Oh, here it is. World Card Making Day under What's New. Hello, there we go. Sometimes I get impatient and I click too many times. All right, so you can register for that if you like. It's to celebrate the art of card making, learn some new stamping techniques, and craft along with the presenters and create beautiful heartfelt cards that you can send out. And you can connect with other stampers as well. So I'm wondering if it has the price here, because it's usually, I don't think it's free. Well, it's free, but they want you to buy something. Yeah, so they're doing this kit. They're using just that one kit. So that's not bad, because the kits are all like under $25. So they're using the handmade and heartfelt kit that day. All right, and you can order that beginning today, and then you can sign up for World Card Making Day. And there's no fee to sign up for that, just buying the kit if that's what you choose to do. All right, so you can do that under What's New. And also under What's New, that's where you're going to find the catalog and the January 2025 scrapbooking brochure. So the catalog is right there. I have ordered extra catalogs, and if you're a customer of mine and you ask, I'll get you a catalog. Or you can just look at the entire catalog right here online and choose what you want. And I would just ask that if you do that, that you do that under my connection, so that you're doing that with me, you're stamping with me. And I think once you start shopping, you do have the option to choose Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I would certainly be very appreciative if you chose me as your demonstrator when making purchases. That really does help me a lot. So lots of great things to see, and it's easier to look through a real catalog, which is why I tend to get them anyway, but a lot of people don't mind looking at them this way. All right, so thank you very much for tuning in today and for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this helped a little bit. I know sometimes people don't find the website user-friendly, and to be honest with you, sometimes we've had demonstrators say the same thing. They redid it a while back, and it's a little bit better, but there are still some things that might not be where you would think they would be, and that's simply because we don't all think alike, right? We just don't. So that's the way the world goes. We don't all think alike. All right, so again, here are the cards that we made today. I really like every single one of them. I don't know if I can get them all in here or not. No, you're going to see part of a card and not the whole card, no matter what I do, I think. But there they are, and I will take some pictures and maybe post them tonight or tomorrow. We'll see how things go. I'm just glad that I kept recording the entire time. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week. Hey, Mary Kay, sorry I didn't see you earlier. Well, you didn't comment. You got to say hello, Mary Kay, okay? Next time say hello, and then I'll know that you're here, because I can only see when I stand up to turn off the camera. All right, have a great night, everybody.